The large alien ship moved slowly through space toward Earth. Inside the ship, Ambassador Zextheri looked at the files about humans. He had been doing this job for many years. He had met hundreds of different alien races. But something about these humans made him feel worried. "Are you ready to meet them?" asked Colonel Mordock. The military officer had purple skin and forearms. His species was known for being good fighters in the galaxy. "I have read their files many times," Zextheri sighed. "They fight each other a lot. They have wars that last for years. Even their children learn to fight." "How bad can they be?" Mordock asked. "They only have 2 arms and no claws. They cannot even breathe in space without machines." The human ship came into view. It was called the USS Liberty. It looked different from other ships they had seen. It had many weapons pointed in all directions. Even the communication dish looked like it could be used to fight. Captain Jake Morrison's face appeared on their screen. He was a tall man with short dark hair. His eyes were sharp and alert. He wore a uniform that looked clean and neat. "Welcome to Earth space," Jake said. "We are ready to meet you. Please follow our escort ships to the meeting point." Zextheri noticed something strange. Jake's voice was calm and friendly, but his body was tense. He stood like he was ready to fight at any moment. His hands stayed close to his belt where weapons would be. The alien ship followed the human escort ships. The escort ships were small, but they moved fast. They stayed in perfect formation around the alien ship. Every movement was planned and exact. "Look at how they fly," Mordock said. "They move like hunters." When they reached the meeting station, human soldiers were waiting. They stood in straight lines. Each soldier held a weapon. The weapons were not pointed at the aliens, but they were ready to be used quickly. Commander Lisa Brooks stepped forward. She was a woman with blonde hair tied back. She looked strong and fit. Her uniform had many badges on it. "I am Commander Brooks," she said. "I will show you to the meeting room. Please follow me." As they walked, Zextheri watched the human soldiers. They did not talk or move around. They watched everything with careful eyes. When the aliens walked past, the soldiers' hands moved closer to their weapons. It was not a threat. It was just what they did naturally. The meeting room was simple. There was a long table and chairs. But Zextheri noticed other things. The walls were thick metal. There were cameras in every corner. The doors looked like they could be locked quickly. "This is not just a meeting room," Mordock whispered. "It is a trap if they need it to be." Jake Morrison entered with other human officers. They all moved the same way. They were relaxed but ready. They sat down but kept their backs straight. Their eyes never stopped watching. "We are happy to meet you," Jake said. "We have been waiting for this day for a long time." "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council," Zextheri said. "We hope to learn about your people and your culture." "We would be glad to share," said Commander Brooks. "Would you like to see how we train our people?" "We can show you some basic exercises," the aliens agreed. They thought it would be interesting to see human culture. They did not know what they were about to witness. Commander Brooks led them to a large room. Human soldiers were already there. They wore simple gray clothes. They looked like normal people. Some were young, some were older. Men and women stood together. "These are regular soldiers," Brooks explained. "They do basic training every day. This is nothing special." She gave a command. The soldiers began to move. They formed groups and started to practice fighting. But this was not like anything the aliens had seen before. The humans moved like water. They flowed around each other. When one soldier attacked, another blocked. When one fell, another took their place. They worked together like they shared one. "Mind, how long do they train for this?" Zextheri asked. "About 3 months for basic training," Brooks said. Then they keep learning for their whole career. 3 months. In the galactic military, it took 3 years to learn basic combat. And these humans did it in 3 months. One soldier, a young man named Danny Walsh, was practicing with knives. He moved the blades so fast, they looked like silver light. Another soldier, Maria Rodriguez, was showing how to fight without weapons. She threw a much larger man to the ground easily. This is just practice, Brooks said. They are not really trying to hurt each other. But to the aliens, it looked like a real battle. The humans hit hard and fast. They showed no fear. When they got hurt, they kept fighting. Do all humans learn this? Mordick asked. Most do, Jake said. In our schools, children learn sports that teach fighting. In our homes, parents teach their children to protect themselves. It is part of growing up human. The aliens looked at each other. On their worlds, only special soldiers learned to fight. Most people never touched a weapon. But these humans made every person into a warrior. What do you do for fun? Zexthery asked. We play games, said a young soldier named Amy Johnson. We have sports where teams try to move a ball past the other team. We have races where people run and jump. We have games where people fight with their hands, but follow rules so no one gets badly hurt. Games. The humans played fighting games. For fun, they enjoyed combat. They celebrated war in their entertainment. We also have movies and books about great battles, Danny Walsh added. Stories about heroes who fight against impossible odds. We like stories where the good guys win by being braver and stronger than the bad guys. The aliens began to understand. These humans did not just know how to fight. They loved to fight. Their whole culture was built around conflict and competition. We have learned much today, Zexthery said. Thank you for showing us your ways. As they walked back to their ship, the aliens were quiet. They had come expecting to meet a simple species. Instead, they had found something that scared them. Every human is a soldier, Mordock said finally. Yes, Zexthery agreed. And if this is what they call normal, what must their real warriors be like? Neither of them wanted to find out, but they had a feeling they would learn soon enough. The humans were too dangerous to ignore, and too interesting to leave alone that the alien ship left Earth space that day. But the memory of what they had seen would stay with them forever. They had met a species that was born to fight, and that changed everything. 3 months had passed since the first meeting. The Galactic Council wanted to see more. They sent a bigger group of observers to Earth. This time, they wanted to see human military power. General Nathan Cole stood in his office looking at the request. He was a big man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had fought in many wars. The alien request seemed simple to him. They want to see our regular forces in action, he told his staff. Just a basic training exercise. Nothing too fancy. Major. Kelly Foster looked at the paper. Should we use the 82nd Airborne? They are doing urban warfare training this week. Perfect, General Cole said. Get everything ready. The aliens want to see how we fight. Let's show them. The aliens arrived at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Ambassador Zexthery brought 12 observers from different species. They all looked nervous. They had heard stories about the first meeting. Welcome to our base, General Cole said. Today you will see our regular infantry soldiers. These are normal troops, not special forces. The aliens felt a little better. Regular soldiers could not be too scary. They followed the general to a viewing area that looked over a fake city. The city was made for training. It had buildings, streets, and cars. It looked real, but it was all fake. Your soldiers will practice in there? Asked Dr. Velinari, a scientist from the Kree Empire. Yes, General Cole said. We call it urban warfare training. Fighting in cities is different from fighting in open areas. Sergeant Maria Rodriguez was getting her squad ready. She was a strong woman with dark hair. She had done this training many times. Today felt different because aliens were watching. "Listen up," she told her soldiers. "We have visitors today. Do your job like always. Show them what regular army soldiers can do." Her squad had 12 soldiers. They came from different places in America. Some were young, just out of basic training. Others had been soldiers for years. They all looked ready. The exercise began. The aliens watched as human soldiers moved into the fake city. They expected to see simple tactics. Instead, they saw something amazing. The soldiers moved like ghosts. They used the buildings for cover. They talked to each other through tiny radios. They worked together like they had trained for years. "How do they move so quietly?" asked Colonel Mordek. "Practice," said Captain Ryan Davis. He was there to explain things to the aliens. "They train in all kinds of environments: cities, forests, deserts, mountains. They learn to adapt." Sergeant Rodriguez led her team to a building that was supposed to have enemies inside. She used hand signals to tell her soldiers what to do. They moved without making noise. The aliens watched in shock as the humans entered the building. They moved room by room. They checked every corner. They worked together perfectly. When they found fake enemies, they eliminated them quickly. "This is incredible," whispered Dr. Velinari. "They move like they can read each other's minds." "They train together a lot," Captain Davis explained. "They know how each person thinks. They trust each other completely." Private Danny Walsh was the youngest soldier in the squad. He was only 19 years old, but he moved like a veteran. He covered his teammates. He followed orders perfectly. He never hesitated. The aliens could not believe it. This young human was better than experienced. Soldiers from their own species. "How long has he been a soldier?" Zexthery asked. "About 6 months," Captain Davis said. "He finished basic training and went straight to this unit. 6 months." The aliens looked at each other. Their soldiers trained for years to reach this level. This human boy had done it in half a year. The exercise continued. The human soldiers faced different problems. They had to rescue hostages. They had to clear buildings full of enemies. They had to work around obstacles and traps. Every time they succeeded. They adapted to each situation. They changed their tactics when needed. They never gave up. Corporal Amy Johnson was in charge of communications. She talked to other units. She called for air support. She coordinated with tank crews. She managed all the information while fighting. "She is doing the job of 5 people," said Colonel Mordek. "How is this possible?" "Human soldiers learn to do many jobs," Captain Davis said. "They can fight, communicate, give medical help, fix equipment, and lead others. We call them multi-skilled." The aliens watched a soldier named Ben Narration treat a wounded teammate. He gave first aid while under fire. He saved his friend's life and kept fighting. He did both jobs at the same time. All soldiers learn medical training, asked Dr. Velinari. "Basic medical training, yes," Captain Davis said. "Every soldier can treat wounds, stop bleeding, and save lives. Some get more training and become medics." The final part of the exercise was the most shocking. The human soldiers had to work with tanks and helicopters. They had to coordinate airstrikes and ground attacks. The aliens watched as Sergeant Rodriguez talked to a helicopter pilot. She told him exactly where to shoot. The pilot followed her directions perfectly. They worked together even though they had never met before. "How do they coordinate so well?" Zexthery asked. "Standard procedures," General Cole said. "All our soldiers learn the same basic methods. A soldier from one unit can work with soldiers from any other unit. They all speak the same military language. The exercise ended. The human soldiers gathered to talk about what they had done. They discussed their mistakes. They talked about how to do better next time. They are never satisfied, observed Colonel Mordock. They always want to improve. That is the human way, said Captain Davis. We believe there is always room to get better. We never stop learning. The aliens met with some of the soldiers after the exercise. They asked questions about training and tactics. This was fun, said Private Danny Walsh. It reminds me of video games I used to play. Video games? Asked Dr. Velinari. Yeah, games where you fight enemies and complete missions, Danny explained. I have been playing war games since I was little. This is like the games, but real. The aliens were horrified. Humans played war games for entertainment. They practiced fighting from childhood. No wonder they were so good at it. Do all human children play these games? Zexthery asked. Most do, said Corporal Amy Johnson. My little brother is 8. He plays games where he commands armies. He is already better at strategy than most adults. 8 years old. Human children. We're learning military strategy at 8 years old. What about sports? Asked Colonel Mordock. Do you play peaceful games? Sure, said Sergeant Rodriguez. I played football in high school. That is where I learned teamwork and leadership. Football teaches you to work under pressure and never give up. The aliens learned that human sports were also forms of combat training. Football taught tactics and teamwork. Wrestling taught fighting skills. Even games like chess taught strategy and planning. We have a question, said Dr. Velinari. Are these soldiers your best warriors? The humans looked at each other. They seemed confused by the question. These are regular soldiers, General Cole said. Good soldiers, but regular. They do standard infantry work. What about your elite forces? Asked Zexthery. Do you have special warriors? The humans got quiet. They looked uncomfortable. We have special forces, General Cole said slowly. But they are different. They do different jobs. Can we meet them? Asked Colonel Mordack. That might not be a good idea, said Captain Davis. They are ... intense, even for humans. The aliens looked at each other. If regular human soldiers were this good, what were their special forces like? We would like to learn about them, Zexthery said, for our report to the Galactic Council. General Cole sighed. I will make some calls. But do not say I did not warn you. As the aliens left that day, they were quiet. They had seen amazing things. Human soldiers who were better than anything in the galaxy. And these were just regular troops. What have we gotten ourselves into? Whispered Dr. Velinari. I do not know, said Zexthery. But I think we are about to find out. The humans had agreed to show them their special forces. The aliens were not sure they wanted to see them anymore. But it was too late to change their minds. They would learn soon enough what made human warriors truly special. And they would never be the same again. The aliens spent days trying to understand what they had seen. They wrote long reports about human military power. They tried to explain how regular soldiers could be so good at fighting. Ambassador Zexthery sat in his room on the space station. He looked at the videos from the training exercise again and again. The humans moved like no other species he had ever seen. I do not understand, he said to Colonel Mordack. How can their basic soldiers be so advanced? Maybe they are not telling. U.S. the truth, Mordack said. Maybe those were their best soldiers pretending to be regular troops. No, said Dr. Velinari. I ran genetic scans. Those soldiers were normal humans. No special enhancements. No genetic modifications. They were just regular people who trained hard. The aliens were having lunch with some human officers when they learned something that changed everything. Lieutenant Colonel Chris Parker was talking about the exercise. He seemed happy that the aliens had enjoyed it. Your soldiers were impressive, Sexthery said. They must be among your finest warriors. Chris laughed. Those guys? They are good soldiers, but they are just regular infantry. Nothing special. About them. Nothing special? Asked Dr. Velinari. But they fought better than our best troops. Really? Chris looked surprised. Huh. I guess humans are just naturally good at this stuff. But if you think they were good, you should see our Special Forces guys. The aliens stopped eating. Special Forces? Asked Colonel Mordak. Yeah, our elite units, Chris said. Rangers. Green Berets, Navy SEALs, Delta Force. Those guys are the real warriors. The room went quiet. The alien stared at the human officer. You mean, said Zexthery slowly, that there are soldiers who are better than the ones we saw? Oh yeah, Chris said. Much better. Those guys we showed you yesterday? They are good, but they are just regular army. Special Forces are in a whole different league. Major Kelly Foster joined the conversation. She sat down with her lunch tray. What are you talking about? She asked. I was just telling them about Special Forces, Chris said. Kelly's face changed. She looked worried. You probably should not have mentioned that. Why not? Chris asked. They wanted to know about our military. Because, Kelly said quietly, they are not ready for that yet. The aliens looked at each other. What did she mean? They were not ready? Can you tell us more about these Special Forces? Asked ZEX_THARI. And Chris exchanged looks. They seemed to be having a conversation without words. I guess we can give you some basic information, Kelly said. But you have to understand, these are very different from regular soldiers. Different. How? Asked Dr. Velinari. They train differently, Chris said. They think differently. They are selected for special mental and physical abilities. They do missions that regular soldiers cannot do. Like what? Asked Colonel Mordock. Deep reconnaissance. Kelly said, going behind enemy lines for weeks or months, living off the land, gathering information without being seen. Direct action, Chris added, small unit raids on high-value targets. Going in fast, completing the mission, getting out before anyone. Knows they were there. Unconventional warfare, Kelly continued, training and leading local forces, working with resistance groups, fighting wars that are not officially happening. The aliens tried to process this information. They had thought the regular soldiers were impressive. But these Special Forces sounded like something from a science fiction story. How many of these special soldiers do you have? Asked Zexthery. That is classified, Kelly said. But not very many. These units are small. Quality over quantity. Are they much better than regular soldiers? Asked Dr. Velinari. Chris and Kelly looked at each other again. It is hard to explain, Chris said. Regular soldiers are trained to fight as part of a big army. Special Forces are trained to fight, alone or in very small groups. They have to be able to do everything themselves. Everything? Asked Colonel Mordak. Navigation, communications, medical care, explosives, languages, cultural training, survival skills, and combat, Kelly listed, plus whatever specialized skills their mission requires. The aliens were getting more worried. The regular soldiers had been scary enough. These Special Forces sounded like super soldiers. Can we meet some of them? Asked ZEX_THARI. And Chris got very quiet. I do not think that is a good idea, Kelly said. Why not? Asked Dr. Velinari. Because, Chris said carefully, they are intense, even by human standards. They might make you uncomfortable. Uncomfortable how? Asked Colonel Mordak. They are very focused, Kelly explained. They do not think like regular people. They see everything as a potential threat or advantage. They never really relax. They sound dangerous, said Zexthery. They are, Chris said. That is the point. They are designed to be dangerous. The aliens spent the rest of the day thinking about what they had learned. They had come to Earth thinking they understood human military power. Now they realized they had only seen the beginning. That evening, they met with Dr. Alex Turner, a human military historian. He had been assigned to help them understand human warfare. I heard you learned about special forces today, he said. Yes, said Zexthery. We are trying to understand how they are different from regular soldiers. It is about evolution, Dr. Turner explained. Human warfare has been evolving for thousands of years. We started with simple weapons and tactics, but we kept improving. How so? Asked Dr. Velinari. Every war taught us something new, Dr. Turner said. We learned from our mistakes. We adapted to new situations. We developed new strategies and technologies. But why do you need special forces? Asked Colonel Mordock. Why not just make all soldiers better? Because different missions require different skills, Dr. Turner said. Regular soldiers fight big battles. Special forces fight small, secret wars. They do things that regular armies cannot do. Like what? Asked Zexthery. Assassination. Dr. Turner said simply. Sabotage, infiltration, psychological warfare. They fight in ways that regular soldiers are not trained for. The aliens felt cold. The humans had soldiers who specialized in killing specific people. Soldiers who could sneak into enemy territory and destroy things from the inside. How long do they train? Asked Dr. Velinari. Years, Dr. Turner said. Selection alone can take months. Then they train for specific skills. Then they get real-world experience. It takes years to make a special forces soldier. And they are volunteers? Asked Colonel Mordock. All volunteers, Dr. Turner said. You cannot force someone to be special forces. They have to want it. They have to be willing to sacrifice everything for the mission. The aliens were beginning to understand. These special forces were not just better soldiers. They were different kinds of humans. They were people who had chosen to become weapons. We would like to meet some of them, said ZEX single quotes THAR. Dr. Turner looked concerned. Are you sure? They are not like regular soldiers. They do not think like regular people. They might frighten you. We need to know, said Zexthery, for our report to the Galactic Council. Dr. Turner nodded slowly. I will make some calls. But you should prepare yourselves. You are about to meet the most dangerous humans on Earth. That night, the aliens could not sleep. They had thought they understood human military power. Now they realized they had been wrong. Regular human soldiers were already better than anything in the galaxy. And these special forces were supposed to be much better than regular soldiers. What have we gotten ourselves into? Whispered Dr. Velinari. I do not know, said Zexthery, but I think we are about to find out. The next morning, they got word that the meeting was arranged. They would meet members of different special forces units. The humans had agreed to show them what their elite soldiers could do. The aliens were excited and terrified at the same time. They wanted to know the truth about human military power, but they were afraid of what they might learn. Remember, Colonel Mordock said, these are still just humans. They cannot be that different from the soldiers we already met. But deep down, he knew he was wrong. The humans had already surprised them many times, and something told him that the biggest surprise was yet to come. They were about to meet the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy, and they were not sure they were ready for it. The aliens arrived at a different military base. This one was smaller and more secret. There were no signs showing what it was. The guards checked everyone's identification 3 times. This is where we train our special operations forces, said Major Kelly Foster. Not many people get to see this place. The aliens followed her through several security checkpoints. Each door required special codes and fingerprint scans. The walls were thick concrete. Everything felt serious and dangerous. Your security is very tight, observed Ambassador Zexthery. It has to be, Kelly said. The people who work here know secrets that could change wars. We have to protect them. They entered a briefing room. It was plain and simple. No decorations. Just chairs, a table, and a large screen on the wall. The aliens sat down and waited. The first person to enter was Staff Sergeant Tim Rogers. He was not what the aliens expected. He was average height and build. He had short brown hair and quiet eyes. He looked like a regular person. This is Staff Sergeant Rogers, Kelly said. He is with Delta Force. Tim sat down across from the aliens. He did not smile or make small talk. He just looked at them with calm, measuring eyes. You wanted to know about Special Forces, he said. His voice was quiet and controlled. What do you want to know? What makes you different from regular soldiers? Asked Dr. Velen, ARI. Tim thought for a moment. Regular soldiers fight as part of a big group. I fight alone or with a very small team. Regular soldiers have support from many people. I have to do everything myself? Everything? Asked Colonel Mordak. Navigate in enemy territory. Communicate with headquarters. Treat my own wounds. Fix my own equipment. Speak the local language. Blend in with the local people. Complete my mission and get home alive. The aliens looked at each other. One person doing all of those things seemed impossible. Can you show us some of your skills? Asked Zext HRI. Tim nodded. He stood up and walked to a table with various objects on it. There were weapons, tools, and electronic devices. This is a standard sniper rifle, he said, picking up a long gun. I can hit a target accurately from over 1 mile away. The aliens gasped. 1 mile was an incredible distance for accurate shooting. Tim continued. This is a radio that can reach anywhere in the world. I can call for help or send intelligence reports from deep behind enemy lines. He picked up a small device. This is a GPS unit. It tells me exactly where I am anywhere on Earth. I can navigate in complete darkness or bad weather. But these are just tools, said Dr. Velinari. Any soldier can use tools. The difference is training, Tim said. I have been training for 8 years. I know how to use these tools in any situation. I can adapt when things go wrong. To prove his point, Tim demonstrated his shooting skills. He fired at targets that were very far away. Every shot hit exactly where he aimed. He made it look easy. How often do you train? Asked Colonel Mordak. Every day, Tim said. Physical training, weapons training, tactical training, mission planning. We never stop learning. The next person to enter was Master Sergeant Carol Hayes. She was a woman in her 30s with strong arms and alert eyes. She moved like a cat, smooth and quiet. Master Sergeant Hayes is with the Green Berets, Kelly said. She specializes in unconventional warfare. Carol sat down and looked at the aliens. You want to know what makes us special? We think differently. We see opportunities where others see problems. Can you give us an example? Asked Zexthery. Last year, I spent 6 months in a country that was having a civil war, Carol said. My job was to train local fighters to resist an invasion. You trained an entire army? Asked Dr. Velinari. I trained the leaders. They trained their people. I taught them tactics, weapons use, and how to organize. Within 3 months, they were winning battles against a much larger enemy. The aliens were amazed. One person had changed the outcome of a war. How did you learn their language and culture so quickly? asked Colonel Mordock. Training, Carol sighed. I speak 6 languages fluently. I have studied dozens of cultures. I can adapt to any environment quickly. She demonstrated by speaking to each alien in their own language. She had learned their languages just from listening to them talk for a few days. This is impossible, whispered Dr. Velinari. Not impossible, Carol said in his language. Just difficult. Human brains are very adaptable. We can learn almost anything, if we work hard enough. The third person to enter made the aliens feel nervous just by walking into the room. Commander Paul Anderson was a Navy SEAL. He was tall and muscular, with scars on his hands and face. Commander Anderson specializes in maritime operations, Kelly said. He fights in and around water. Paul sat down. He did not say anything at first. He just looked at the aliens with intense eyes. They felt like he was studying them, looking for weaknesses. You fight in water? Asked Zexthery. In water, underwater, from water onto land, Paul said. SEALs can attack from any direction. We swim for miles underwater. We can hold our breath for over 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Asked Dr. Velinari. That is not possible. Watch, Paul said. He took a deep breath and held it. The aliens watched the clock. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 15. Finally, Paul breathed out normally. How? Asked Colonel Mordock. Training, Paul said. We train our bodies to use less oxygen. We train our minds to stay calm under stress. We can survive in conditions that would kill most people. Paul told them about SEAL training. They had to swim in freezing water. They had to carry heavy weights for long distances. They had to stay awake for days at a time. They had to work as a team under extreme stress. Many people try to become SEALs, Paul said. Most quit. Only the strongest and smartest make it through training. The last person to enter was Captain Jennifer Lopez. She was with the Army Rangers. She was smaller than the others, but she moved with the same confidence. Grace, Rangers specialize in rapid deployment and direct action, Kelly explained. They get to the fight first and hit hard. Jennifer sat down and smiled at the aliens. She seemed friendlier than the others. What makes Rangers special? Asked Zexthery. We are fast, Jennifer said. We can deploy anywhere in the world within hours. We can jump out of airplanes at night. We can land on hostile territory and start fighting immediately. You jump out of airplanes? Asked Dr. Velinari. From very high altitude, Jennifer said. Sometimes so high we need oxygen masks. We jump at night, in bad weather, over enemy territory. We land exactly where we need to be. She showed them videos of Rangers in action. They jumped from planes. In the middle of the night, they landed in enemy territory and immediately began fighting. They moved fast and hit hard. How do you coordinate with each other? Asked Colonel Mordock. We train together constantly, Jennifer said. We know how. Each person thinks and moves. We can work together without talking. To demonstrate, the 4 Special Forces soldiers did a practice mission. They moved through a mock enemy base without making any noise. They communicated with hand signals. They worked together perfectly. The aliens watched in amazement. These humans moved like they were one person with 4 bodies. They anticipated each other's actions. They covered each other's weaknesses. This is incredible, whispered Dr. Velinari. This is just practice, said Tim Rogers. In real combat, we move even better because our lives depend on it. The aliens had many questions. They learned that Special Forces soldiers could survive in any environment. They could speak multiple languages. They could use any weapon. They could adapt to any situation. Do you ever get scared? Asked Zexthery. Of course, said Carol Hayes. Fear keeps us alive. but we train so hard that we can function even when we are scared. What about your families? Asked Dr. Velinari. Do they worry about you? The room got quiet. The soldiers looked at each other. Our families know the risks, said Paul Anderson. They support us because they understand the mission is important. But it is hard, added Jennifer Lopez. We miss birthdays and holidays. We cannot tell them where we go or what we do. They have to trust that we will come home. The aliens realized that being a Special Forces soldier required sacrifice in a normal life. These humans gave up everything to become weapons for their country. Why do you do it? Asked Colonel Mordak. Because someone has to, said Tim Rogers. There are evil people in the world who want to hurt innocent people. We stop them. Regular armies cannot do what we do, said Carol Hayes. We go places they cannot go. We do things they cannot do. We are the last line of defense. The aliens watched as the Special Forces soldiers demonstrated more skills. They showed how to pick locks and disable alarms. They showed how to make explosives from common materials. They showed how to disappear in a crowd. You are like ghosts, said Dr. Velinari. That is the idea, said Paul Anderson. We get in, complete the mission, and get out without anyone knowing we were there. Unless we want them to know, added Jennifer Lopez with a scary smile. The aliens learned that Special Forces soldiers could strike fear into their enemies just by being there. Enemy soldiers would surrender rather than fight them. Entire armies would retreat when they heard Special Forces were coming. You are not just soldiers, said Zexthery. You are legends. We are just people who trained very hard, said Tim Rogers. Any human could do what we do if they were willing to work for it. But the aliens knew that was not true. These humans were special. They had abilities, though. 6 months later, Ambassador Zexthery stood before the Galactic Council. The great chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds. They had all come to hear his report about humanity. Honored members, Zexthery began. What I am about to tell you will change how we think about warfare forever. The council members leaned forward. They had been waiting for this report since the humans had been discovered. We went to Earth thinking we would find another primitive species, Zexthery continued. We were wrong. We found something that challenges everything we thought we knew about military evolution. He activated a holographic display. Images of human soldiers appeared in the air above the council floor. These are human regular infantry soldiers, Zexthery said. What you consider elite warriors, they call basic troops. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Council members looked at each other with concern. Their children learn combat sports for fun, Zexthery continued. Their entertainment celebrates warfare. Their entire culture has been shaped by constant conflict for thousands of years. The images changed to show human Special Forces soldiers in action. And these are their elite warriors, Zexthery said. They call them Special Forces. A single one of these soldiers can accomplish missions that would require an entire battalion of our troops. The council chamber erupted in noise. Some members stood up and shouted questions. Others demanded proof. The chamber president called for order. You expect us to believe this? Called out Senator Veximer from the Centauri Republic. One soldier cannot be worth a battalion. I have video evidence, Zexthery replied calmly. And I have statements from Colonel Mordak, our military expert. He witnessed their capabilities firsthand. Colonel Mordak stood up. His purple face was serious and worried. Honored Council, he said, I have fought in 17 wars. I have seen the best warriors from dozens of species. Human Special Forces soldiers are beyond anything I thought possible. Explain, demanded General Creether from the warrior caste of Antares. They can survive alone in enemy territory for months, Mordak said. They can learn new languages in days. They can adapt to any environment. They can kill with their bare hands or from over a mile away. This is impossible, shouted Senator Vexamer. No species can evolve such capabilities. Humans did not evolve them, said Dr. Velinari, standing up from her seat. They created them through training and selection. They took normal people and turned them into something beyond normal. The chamber fell quiet. The idea that any species could create super soldiers through training alone was frightening. What does this mean for the galaxy? Asked the chamber president. Zexthary looked around the room. It means we are dealing with a species that thinks about warfare in ways we never considered. They do not just fight to win. They fight to completely dominate their enemies. He showed more images. Human military bases. Human weapons. Human training exercises. Every human city has military training facilities, Zexthary explained. Every human school teaches basic tactics. Every human entertainment medium includes military themes. They are a warrior species, said General Creether. We have dealt with warrior species before. No, Zexthary said firmly. Warrior species fight because it is their nature. Humans fight because they choose to excel at it. They made warfare into an art form. The implications began to sink in. If humans could turn ordinary people into elite soldiers through training, what would happen when they had access to galactic technology and resources? What do they want? Asked Senator Morish from the Peaceful Coalition. At first, we thought they wanted to join the galactic community, Zexthary said. But now I think they want something else. They want to understand us, to learn our capabilities and weaknesses. For what purpose? Asked the chamber president. I do not know, Zexthary admitted. But I do know that underestimating humans would be a fatal mistake. General Nathan Cole had been invited to address the council. He stood up from the human delegation area. He was the only human in the chamber, surrounded by hundreds of aliens. May I speak? He asked. The chamber president nodded. You may address the council, General Cole. Nathan walked to the center of the chamber. He looked calm and confident, despite being outnumbered thousands to one. I have listened to your discussion about human military capabilities, he said. Much of what you have heard is accurate, but you are missing the most important point. Which is? Asked Senator Vexamer. Why we developed these capabilities in the first place, Nathan said. Humans did not become warriors because we are naturally aggressive. We became warriors because we had to. He gestured to the images still floating above the chamber. Earth is a dangerous world, Nathan continued. We evolved alongside predators that could kill us easily. We faced diseases that could wipe out entire populations. We dealt with natural disasters that could destroy civilizations. The aliens listened carefully. This was a perspective they had not considered. We learned to fight because everything on our world was trying to kill us, Nathan said. We developed these military skills not to attack others, but to survive. But you fight each other constantly, accused General Creether. Yes, Nathan admitted, because fighting each other made us stronger. Every war taught us new lessons. Every conflict forced us to improve. We turned our survival instinct into a tool for evolution. The chamber was quiet now. The aliens were beginning to understand. Your species developed in safer environments, Nathan continued. You had time to focus on art, science, and philosophy. We had to focus on survival. That made us different. What do you want from us? Asked the chamber president. Nathan smiled. Partnership. You have knowledge and technology we need. We have skills and perspectives you need. Together, we can build something better than either of us could create alone. And if we refuse? Asked Senator Vexamer. Nathan's expression did not change. Then you refuse. We will respect your decision, and find our own path through the galaxy. But the aliens heard the unspoken message. Humans would explore the galaxy with or without permission, and any species that tried to stop them would discover what human special forces could really do. "We need time to discuss this," said the chamber president. "Of course," Nathan said. "Take all the time you need. But remember, while you are discussing, we are still learning and growing." The council session ended with no decisions made, but everyone knew that something fundamental had changed. The galaxy now contained a species that could create elite warriors through sheer determination and training. Over the following weeks, the aliens debated endlessly. Some wanted to welcome humans as partners. Others wanted to contain them. A few suggested trying to eliminate the threat before it grew stronger. But those who had met human special forces knew the truth. It was already too late to contain humanity. They were too strong, too adaptable, and too determined. The galaxy would have to learn to live with humans as they were. A species that had turned survival into an art form. A species that created legends through training and willpower. Ambassador Zek's theory wrote his final report on humanity. His conclusion was simple but profound. We have discovered a species that has weaponized evolution itself. They do not just adapt to their environment. They force their environment to adapt to them. The question is not whether humans will become a major power in the galaxy. The question is whether the rest of us can keep up with them. In the end, the Galactic Council voted to accept humanity as a member species. They established new protocols for dealing with human military personnel. They created special procedures for interactions with human special forces. Most importantly, they began to study human training methods. If humans could create elite soldiers through determination and practice, maybe other species could learn. From their example, the galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is not the one with the biggest weapons or the most soldiers. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy is the one who never stops improving. Humans had shown them what was possible when an entire species dedicated itself to the art of warfare. And now the galaxy would never be the same dot as Zek's theory looked out. At the stars, he wondered what other surprises humanity would bring. He had a feeling that their special forces were just the beginning. The humans were coming to the stars, and they were bringing their warriors with them. The galaxy would have to be ready for whatever came next.